Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to episode number 50 of Just Jets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary. Excited to be here for episode number 50. That's a nice milestone. 2 episodes away from a full year of Just Jets, which is absolutely nuts. We have a lot to get into today. We got the Deshaun Watson rumors to talk about. We have the coaching hire officially, the press conference to react to, the importance of what a good head coach and good coaching staff means in the NFL, and so much more. But before we get started today, a word from our sponsors. Are you ready for some football? The biggest game of the year is upon us on February 7th in Tampa, and it's time to get your balls feeling super. Our partners at Manscaped are here to tell you to join the already 2 million men who trust Manscaped products for their below-the-waist grooming needs. Take Gronk's advice and shave your balls. Lawnmower 3.0. We got the cologne right here on top of that and I wear all the time. I absolutely love it. Use promo code JETS20 for 20% off and free shipping over at manscaped.com. Once again, that's promo code JETS20 for 20% off and free shipping. Buy yourself something nice. So obviously, we got a lot to get into today, and a little peek behind the curtain. I record these on Sunday evening, usually either stay up late and edit Sunday night or edit Monday morning for a mid-morning release on Monday usually. So I am recording this right after, like seconds ago, the Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played. And if you're watching this on Monday or whenever you're watching it, you know what happened in the game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won, but I am so mad at Matt LaFleur. So mad. How can you kick a field goal in that spot, down 8 with 2 minutes left to go, and not go for it on 4th down? I hope to God Robert Saleh never does that, or his little brother Mike LaFleur never does anything that stupid. How you give the ball back to Tom Brady, give him the ball, and then put the game in the hands of Mike Pettin instead of your Hall of Fame quarterback is just absolutely insane. The conservative coaching in the NFL is going to drive me to an early grave, and I just had to vent briefly on that because we have to watch Tom Brady in the Super Bowl for the 10th time. 10 times. Oh my God, it's absolutely unbelievable. So let's get into the episode. Like I said, a lot to get into. And what I really want to get into today in the monologue, before we get to the questions, a ton of Deshaun Watson questions, which is understandable, is Robert Saleh. So the press conference was this past week. Robert Saleh was introduced. He obviously introduced his staff as well. Mike LaFleur is going to be the offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is going to be Jeff Ulbrich. And what I really like about the press conference is, one, he sounds like a guy who just has a plan, is calm, cool, and collected, which is a vast difference from what we've seen in Adam Gase. And the Adam Gase press conference, if you remember 2 years ago, was a disaster. I don't think a press conference could go any worse. His eyes were all over the place. He was antsy in his pants. It was a tough watch, but Saleh was calm. He was cool. All gas, no break is the slogan. I absolutely love it. I love that mentality. I really do. And what he is bringing, a couple of things that I'll note. The legit coaching staff. So you have a really good offensive coordinator, up-and-coming offensive mind. You bring in a defensive coordinator who had some success at the end of this past year. You have a legitimate coaching staff in terms of bringing a quarterback coach in here, a pass game coordinator, a run game coordinator. When was the last time the Jets had a pass game or run game coordinator? It's crazy to think that we are going from Adam Gase and Dowell Loggins being essentially the only 2 voices on offense to Mike LaFleur in the mix, a different pass game coordinator, a different run game coordinator. It's going to be an exciting time, and there's a lot of different voices going on and collaborative effort, and they're bringing the San Francisco style of running on offense over to the New York Jets, which I'm excited to see because it's a quarterback-friendly system. It's a high-octane offense. It's fast, it's fun, and it puts up points, which is really good. And something Robert Saleh said on the defensive side that intrigues me is he's not going to be calling plays. So what does that tell you? That he is going to be a CEO type like the Jets need. Most people were saying that, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm hiring someone to overlook the entire team. Well, you don't have to worry about, the Adam Gase and Greg Williams scenario, where it was Adam Gase was the head coach of the offense, Greg Williams was the head coach of the defense, and no one was really overlooking the entire thing. This isn't going to be the case. And on top of that, too, the reporting structure changed. So it is no longer the head coach and the GM on the same level reporting to the owner. Instead, it is the coach reporting to the GM reporting to the owner. And having Saleh and Joe Douglas, it really legitimizes this franchise from going for Todd Bowles and Mike Maccagnan in 2015 to 2019 was tough. And then Mike Maccagnan very briefly with Adam Gase was tough. And then Joe Douglas and Adam Gase was tough because Adam Gase weighed him down that much. But Douglas and Saleh should be an exciting matchup to watch for a long time, or a tandem, I guess, to say, to watch for a long time here. Saleh got a 5-year deal, so it's not going to be something that's, just a quick little stop. I wouldn't imagine. I think he's probably going to get at least 3 years, you would hope, unless something catastrophic happens in the first couple of years, and hopefully longer than that even. But Douglas and Saleh are going to have their chance. They didn't commit to anything at the quarterback position, which I think is smart. You don't want to show your hands with this much time to play. And when you look around the league at some of the other press conferences, I thought Saleh really handled himself well. I mean, look at what happened in Dan Campbell in Detroit. The wheels look like it's going to fall off in Detroit. That was tough. I'm going to bite your kneecap and eat your kneecap. That was insane. What year is this? We can't be doing this in 2020. How is Dan Campbell getting a job and Eric Bieniemy is still a coordinator, or Brian Dable is still a coordinator, and Josh McCown got interviewed by the Houston Texans? What is happening in the NFL right now? It's very bizarre. But you look at how some of these organizations make the decisions, and right now it seems like Detroit has gone off the rails, go figure, and the Texans are going off the rails as well, which is intriguing because, I mean, this is the last part of the monologue we're going to touch on before we get to the voicemails. Watson seems really intrigued by Robert Saleh. He wanted the Texans to interview him, and it pretty much came out to yesterday that the decision for Deshaun Watson isn't going to come down to whoever the coach is. Like it's too far gone, it seems like, in Houston. So it looks like he is going to get traded, whether it's to the Jets, whether it's to the Dolphins. We don't exactly know, obviously, and maybe another team comes in the mix. But Watson seems to have frayed his relationship with the Texans, which just goes to show you how important it is to have a legitimate structure. And yes, the Jets are coming off a bad year at 2-14. No one is denying that. But at the same time, they have the structure in place finally. A head coach that's respected around the league by a ton of people. A general manager who's well respected around the league. The reporting structure is right. And with the amount of assets that they have, if they're able to go out and land a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, that is a franchise-altering offseason. It really is. And I think that's part of the reason why you could be so excited about the Saleh hire, is because how many people around the league love this guy. So I'm excited about it. I know you guys are too. So let's get into it. Let's talk to Deshaun Watson. We're going to get into the voicemails. Eddie in North Carolina is up first, and he wants to talk Watson.
Hey, Matt. This is Eddie from North Carolina. I have a perfect trade proposal for
Let's hear it.
The Texans to get Deshaun Watson. So here we go.
Okay.
First, we tell them that we are trading back our number 2 pick this year to number 4 so that we can get more picks.
Okay.
This will then give us 3 first-round picks next year. So
Okay.
here's my proposed trade. We give them the 23rd pick this year, which is Seattle's pick. We give them Sam Darnold, and we give them 2 first-round picks out of our 3 next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is an awesome package, which doesn't hurt us as far as having enough trade capital for ourselves, but it gives them a quality quarterback, which they can, hopefully Sam can turn it around, and 3 first-round picks. It doesn't interfere with 2023. And this year we have a first-round pick. Next year we have a first-round pick. And 2023 we still have a first-round pick. So we have our 3 picks each year, and they get a pick this year and 2 picks. And they might have 3 picks next year or 2 picks next year because they don't have any picks. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eddie. And from the Jets' perspective, I love the idea of this trade. I don't think the Texans go for it. I know that they're still getting 3 picks, but they're not getting that top 5 pick at that point. Like, what's so intriguing about the Jets and the Dolphins is that both of those teams have a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. And I know for the Dolphins' perspective, they got it because the Texans were so bad. And in the Laramie Tunsil trade, that's what they gave up. But at the same time, what you're looking at here, the Jets and the Texans in this move. So the Jets are trading back, so you would have to then wait for the trade deadline, excuse me, the NFL draft day or draft weekend for this move to happen, which I don't think it's going to go on that long. I think it would happen sooner. I don't think this one is that likely, and I don't think Sam Darnold would be included in the trade. I think you give them the 2 picks this year, and you use Sam Darnold as a trade chip somewhere else to recoup a second-round pick. And also, I think that if the Texans are trading away Deshaun Watson, they're going to want to draft their own guy this year and not take on a project quarterback in Sam. Can Sam figure it out? Maybe, but if you have the opportunity, if you're the Texans, when you just say, now give me number 2 and I'll take Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, I think that would make a little bit more sense from their perspective. So from the Jets side, sure, I would like it. I just don't think the Texans would be willing to do that. Next up, we got Vinny, who wants to get into Watson and the draft.
Hey, Matt. It's Vinny here. Obviously, the recent Deshaun Watson rumors have gotten everybody excited. But to be honest, the most likely outcome is probably not going to happen, and we're going to draft a quarterback. Now, I've heard some really ridiculous things that have driven me nuts, and I want to explain to people that we cannot trade down and still get a quarterback.
I agree.
It's too risky. It's being cute because you're trading with one of 2 teams. A quarterback-needy team, or which is stupid, obviously, and B, Cincinnati, who wants Penei Sewell. And you trade back with Cincinnati to take Penei Sewell, who is a good chance the Dolphins are interested in him. What do you think the Dolphins are going to do? They'll retaliate and trade out of the pick with a QB-needy team to screw you. And if people don't think teams will move around in the draft to screw their divisional rivals, you do not remember the 2018 NFL draft when the Eagles jumped ahead of the Cowboys just to draft Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, is these teams really do like to move around to prevent divisional rivals from getting guys. That's 100% true. And it is too risky to move back. If you're taking a quarterback in this draft class, it's going to be one of Wilson or Fields. Take your pick. I personally think that Wilson fits this scheme better. If you want to take Justin Fields, fine. I'm okay with that. But just whichever one you decide is the one that you want, take him at 2. Don't get cute. Don't get crazy. If you move back, you have a chance of someone jumping up and grabbing your guy. I don't know. I agree with Vinny. You can't do that. If you're taking a quarterback in this draft class, take them at 2. Whoever it is, fine. I don't care which one of the 2 it is. Just pick one at 2. Don't move back. Don't get cute. Next up is Nick in Georgia. He's got some Deshaun Watson thoughts.
Hey, Matt. It's Nick from Georgia. So I just wanted to address the Deshaun Watson stuff because I've seen a lot of Jets fans on YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is, saying that we should be careful in trading for Deshaun Watson. What? What? Hold on. We have, 4? We have 2 firsts this year, 2 firsts next year, and then we could give them a first in 2023. We have so much draft capital, and on top of that, we sit in front of the Dolphins. We can say to Houston, we can say you can get any quarterback you want with the number 2 pick, obviously outside of Trevor
Lawrence, right?
And we keep Deshaun Watson from getting traded to Miami. So Houston can say, okay, well, at least we can take Justin Fields, which I think would be their pick, or Zach Wilson if they wanted to, or we could throw in Darnold, and they could take Darnold if they want. I feel like Sam Darnold. I'm shocked that there's so many fans saying, "Oh, be careful! We don't want, we don't want to give up too much." I'm getting, if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm getting on the phone and I'm getting Deshaun Watson to New York in any way possible. I don't get off the phone until I get him there, because do you want Deshaun Watson in Miami? Do you want Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen 2 times a year? Oh my
That's
God,
tough.
It would be absolute. Oh my God, the division would be insane. So basically, my question is, Matt, do you have any reservation at all in trading for Deshaun Watson? Because I don't. I say just do whatever you can to get him here outside of draft, outside of sending 8 first-round picks, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, what's the cutoff for you? Because to me, there's really is none. You got to get this guy here because we would become an immediately, I think, playoff contender. So anyway, love the Robert Saleh hire. Love your show. You do a great job. Go Jets.
Thank you very much, Nick. And I agree with pretty much everything you're saying there. There's very few things that I wouldn't do to make this happen. If it take like 3 first-round picks is what I think it could take. I wouldn't bat an eyelash because the amount of draft capital the Jets have over the next 2 years is nuts. They have a ton of cap space. It's going to be around $80 million this year. If you trade for Watson, it'll probably be around that 70, 75 mark-ish with cuts and stuff like that. And on top of that, next year you would have over $100 million in cap space, and then it would go down to roughly 100 with just the Watson, because that's going to jump up to 35 next year, and then 37 and 32 for the next couple of years after that. But if there is a 25-year-old top 5 quarterback available for like something that isn't an entire draft or the next 5 first-round picks, I think you got to figure out a way to get it done. And if it keeps him from going to the Dolphins, that's great. Pretty much, I think you got to root for 2 things. He either goes to the Jets or the NFC. Because if he goes to the Dolphins, that would be extremely tough. Because as Nick said, Josh Allen and the Bills twice. Miami Dolphins, who are a solid team as is with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa, instead with Deshaun Watson twice. That's not easy. It's not easy at all. Next up is Dante in Atlanta, and he has a question about Mark Ingram.
Hey, Matt, it's Dante from Atlanta. I love the Saleh hire, but I do have 2 questions for you, not regarding the head coach. I've heard you talk a couple times about how we're like a veteran presence away in the running back room, and I saw yesterday that Mark Ingram is now available. Would that be someone that you would like to target? He hasn't had any character issues, to my knowledge, and I think he'd be a good veteran presence because he's still healthy. And the second question, if we can't get Aaron Glenn or Rashard as a DC, how would you feel about Marvin Lewis? He did interview with us, so I guess he's semi-familiar with Joe Douglas. And I think a lot of people forget how good his defenses were. But just those are my 2 questions. Take care. Go Jets. And here's for a better 2021.
Absolutely. And this question, by the way, was before that it was made official that Jeff Ulbrich was going to be the defensive coordinator. But just quickly on Marvin Lewis, I would have been completely fine with him as a coordinator. I just didn't want any part of him as a head coach. As far as it goes with Mark Ingram, I think he's a little over the hill. He's 31 years old. I would rather go with a younger veteran option at like Jamal Williams has been my guy that I talked up a lot. Gus Edwards would make sense. Marlon Mack could make sense. Pick someone from the 49ers who's becoming a free agent, and just go that route. I don't think you would need to spend Mark Ingram, who would probably be a little bit more costly than any of the guys that I just listed, and definitely older too. So I would avoid Mark Ingram, I think, Dante. Thanks for checking in. Let's go to Eric in Florida up next. He wants to talk about Dak Prescott.
This is Eric calling from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And what's up, Matt? I was just calling to see if you thought this would be a good idea. I was looking on YouTube and I saw a video talking about Dak Prescott being a free agent. And I was thinking, if we got Dak Prescott this offseason, and let's just say hypothetically he wanted to come and play for the Jets, would you do it if we throw him the money that he wants, use those first 2-round picks to build around him, you get a good offensive weapon, and maybe build that line a little bit more? Would you do that? Would you be willing to pay him what he wants so we can build around someone like him? I think that he's very talented. I think he showed at the beginning half of this year that he could be really, really good. And we don't have to give anything up for him. It would just be part of our cap space that we have to give up. Thank you so much. Have a good one, and go Jets.
Yeah, the Dak Prescott one scares me a little bit, and I do think Dak is a good quarterback, but he's coming off an injury, which that scares me. And on top of that, it's going to be $40 million this year, which is going to be half of the salary cap that they're going to have. I'm less intrigued with that. That's probably if I had, okay, so I would say trade for Watson, draft a quarterback at 2, Dak and Sam after that. But the 1 or 2 is really the ones that I want to end up with. I'd be surprised if Dak doesn't go back to Dallas. I really would. Next up is Josh in Woodmere wants to talk about Jeff Ulbrich.
Hi, Matt. It's Josh from Woodmere. Just watched the press conference. Very excited. No crazy eyes. This guy looks like a normal guy. I like it.
Agree.
And I like him a lot. I like what he says. But, what do you think about the defensive coordinator hire, Jeff Ulbrich, whatever his name is?
Ulbrich, yeah.
Ulbrich, I think. I don't know much about him. I want to know what you think, what you know. I trust Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas. I don't know much about him, though, so if you could, break him down.
Sure.
Tell me your thoughts. Love to know. Thank you for the show, and go Jets.
Yeah, I'm intrigued with this hire, and he's going to call the plays. Robert Saleh isn't going to call plays. So he was the interim defensive coordinator over with the Falcons, and through the first 5 games of the year, before they moved on from Dan Quinn, the Falcons' defense was really struggling. They gave up, I believe it was 31 or 32 points a game. It was not good. But in the final 11 games, that dropped down to 23. And there were a couple good performances against the Saints. There was a good performance against Kansas City. And there was a good performance against the Chargers as well. So those are 4 games against really good offenses where the Falcons defense held their own. Now, they lost those games because the team just stunk, but they were in those games because of how good the defense played. So that's definitely something that's exciting. I think we're going to see a lot of Robert Saleh's ideology here, and I think it's just something that Ulbrich is going to be able to build off of. So expect a 4-3. Expect them to bring in edge presence help because they don't really have that, and it's important in a Saleh defense. And I expect them to look to address corner in both free agency and the draft as well. So ultimately here, I think it's an intriguing hire. He came on strong with the Falcons down the stretch, and we'll see what he can do under Robert Saleh, but I'm excited about it. I think it has the potential to be a good hire. Next up is Brandon. He's calling from Long Island, and he wants to talk Watson.
Hi, this is Brandon from Long Island. This is the second time calling.
Welcome.
So I just was looking at the Deshaun Watson trades, and I know it's kind of old news right now, but people are saying that they should trade the second overall pick, next year's Seattle pick, and then their pick in 2023, right? But my question is, isn't the second overall pick worth 2 first-round picks? So shouldn't it be the second overall pick and maybe another first-round pick, not 3 first-round picks? I don't know. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Get to this if you can, and have a good one.
Yeah, I think if it was so let's say the 49ers were looking to trade for Deshaun Watson. I think they would have to give up more than 3 first-round picks because of where they're picking this year. They're picking 12. 2 is part of the reason why the Jets would have to give up 3, I think, in order to get it done. So, yes, the point that Brandon is trying to make is that the number 2 pick is more valuable than your average first-round selection, which is 100% true. I think that's factored into my proposals at least, the number 2 pick and the value there. I don't think you'd be able to get it done with 23 this year, another one next year, and then another one after that in 2023. I don't think that's possible. I think they're going to want, if you're giving up on a franchise quarterback who's 25 years old in the prime of his career, I think you want a number 2 pick back in return. And I would be okay with moving that if I'm getting Deshaun Watson at the contract that he has right now for the next 5+ years. So hopefully that makes sense, Brandon, and hope that answers your question. Next up is James in Jersey wants to talk Saleh.
Hey, man. Happy 50 to your show, man. This is James from New Jersey.
Thank you.
Again, love the content as always. I mentioned before, keep doing what you're doing. Happy 50.
Thank you.
Hey, man, the press conference for Rob Saleh, I think he hit it right out the park. I think when he mentioned the mantra, all gas, no brakes, I think it was a little fire to put inside every Jets fan, every
Absolutely.
Jets player, and everyone in the organization knowing that this guy is going to try his best to change this around. Loved it. I think that was better than obviously the Adam Gase press conference. I've never seen Adam Gase press conference after even I heard about the memes and how his press conference looked. But that's probably one of the best conferences as a head coach he had in a while. Since maybe Rex Ryan. I'm not sure. But other than that, again, it's a good time to be a Jets fan right now. I think we're rolling now. Again, a quarterback is still a question up in the air because all three people, Joe, Rob, and Chris Johnson, I guess, all didn't seem like make full commitment to Sam Darnold. But, of course, they have to talk about him if for trade value or, again, have to probably just talk about him and see what they're going to do once they get the staff together. But anyway, love the press conference. Future's bright. Happy 50 again to your episode, Matt, and go Jets. Talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for checking in, James, and for the kind words. Appreciate it. Wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, so really appreciate each and every one of you. Robert Saleh, I think the reason why people are so excited about him is because he just has that energy, has that persona. The last two coaches specifically, and you mentioned, I 100% agree, it is the most excited that I've been watching a press conference since Rex Ryan. And Rex came in, he said all the right things, and they had the success early on, so that was super exciting. But with Todd Bowles, he was the polar opposite. He was bland, didn't have that much of the personality, which is fine. Not everyone, I'm not saying be something that you're not, but he wasn't a hire that's going to light a fire under the fan base. And Adam Gase, that was an awful press conference, bottom tier press conferences. So agree. All Saleh had to do was not go up there and choke, and he did just that. He, like I said in the open, he seemed very calm, cool, collected, has a legitimate staff, has a good plan. Douglas has a ton of draft assets. They have a ton of cap space. This thing doesn't have to be a 5-year rebuild. It doesn't. And even if they decide to go through the draft, or even if they decide to stick with Sam Darnold, I don't even think that it would have to be a 5-year rebuild process. There is no more 5-year rebuilds in the NFL. You can turn your team around in a year or 2 years. Look at the Dolphins. Look at the Browns. They've made those leaps rather quickly. And part of it is good drafting and smart allocation of resources. And hopefully we get that with Saleh. And we get that with Joe Douglas, and the future is bright. But Jets fans have a reason to be excited. They do. And this is the most exciting time of the year as it's the offseason now, getting ready for the 2021 season. So thank you, James. Let's go to Mark in Jersey. He's got a mock draft for us. Let's hear from Marky.
Hey, Matt. It's Mark from New Jersey. And I just did a little mock draft that I wanted to get your thoughts on. So, first off, we're trading Sam on draft day for pick 52 from the Bears, I believe.
Yes.
And,
okay, I like that so far.
So number 2, we're selecting Zach Wilson. I just think we need to get our franchise guy. Sam has too many questions right now for us to trust him. At 23, we're selecting Gregory Rousseau. I didn't think he would make it this far, but I've seen a lot of mocks with him falling to like the late teens and early 20s. So he's a 4.3 DN. He could be a great fit. And
I like this so far.
I think Saleh can get a lot out of him. 34, I have us grabbing ETN.
Okay.
I went back and forth with this one, but I think if we're going to a West Coast scheme, Najee wouldn't be the best fit. ETN would be the better fit. And I didn't love the way the board fell, so I grabbed ETN. Then with the 52 overall pick for the Sam trade, I had us getting Paulson Adebo, cornerback from Stanford. He opted out of the season, but he was the best corner on the board, and I still think we should take one early on. Not in the first round, but on day 2.
Okay.
Then at 66, I was getting Josh Myers, interior O-line, Ohio State. I think we need interior O-line help. I still think we need to sign Thuney or something in free agency. And maybe have like Myers and Clark and Lewis compete. I don't know, something like that. And then 86 end off with the Seth Williams, a receiver.
Love Seth Williams from Auburn.
So I think we could go receiver earlier, but this is just probably assuming we get like a Kenny Golladay or an Allen Robinson. and Seth Williams could be our wide receiver 4 for this year. And then next year he could step into a starting role. But, yeah, let me know what you think, and go Jets.
Absolutely. I like this mock draft a lot. The only thing that I wouldn't even say I have an issue with it. I just don't align with this thought process. I personally would not go a running back that early. I love Travis Etienne. I like Najee Harris too, and I agree that Etienne is probably a better fit in this system. But I would probably go a different direction at that point. And I would either sign a veteran or go running back in maybe like round 4, somewhere in that range. But if you're getting a player like that at 34, I don't hate it. It would be fun. It would make the offense better, and it would be fun. So I'm not opposed to it. That's not my preferred route. I would probably go, you went quarterback, edge, then running back. I would either go a better corner there, and then with the Sam pick, maybe go on the interior offensive line. But it's not bad. I'll give it this is a good draft. If the Jets came away with something like that, I would be happy. I absolutely would be happy, and I think you did a good job there, Mark. Absolutely. Love these mock drafts, by the way. Last but certainly not least, Travis from Ohio. Travis, take it away, buddy.
Hey, Matt! Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy. Long-time listener. Late-time caller. I'm sorry. I haven't been checking in. Anyway, my question is this. Deshaun Watson, as awesome as he is, only got the Texans to 4 wins last year. We only got the 2 wins last year with Joe Flacco and freaking Sam Darnold. So, like, do you want to give up 3 first-round draft picks for 2 more wins, or build through the draft? Asking for a friend. You know I love you. I've listened to all your content, even though I haven't called in for a while. Anyway, you're the best. Stay healthy. Love you. Go Jets. Bye.
Glad to hear from you, Travis. Glad you're doing well. So I really don't think Deshaun Watson was the reason why they went 4-12 last year. He led the league in passing yards. He led the league in YPA. He had, 33 touchdowns, a rating over 100. He was really, really good. And I think part of their issue is coaching. They obviously were not well coached. The general manager, they brought in a new GM, but I don't know, something just seems off. It seems toxic there. They don't have a ton going on the defensive side of the ball right now. They have some injuries. Where did they end up ranked defensively? I'm going to look that up right now. I don't have that offhand, but we'll find that out. But I would say Deshaun Watson's very far down the list of issues for me anyway, in terms of, why the Texans were what they were. So the Texans, let's see, where are they on this list? 27th in the league in defense. They allowed a ton of points. Where do they rank? Points for, they were 18th in the league for their offense versus 27th in the league for on the defensive side. Yards 13th to 30th. Passing yards 4th overall, 8th for touchdowns, 2 for interceptions. The defense could not get any takeaways. They were last in the league in interceptions. They gave up the 30th most touchdowns in the league. They gave up the worst yards per attempt rushing in the league. They couldn't stop the run. This is tough. That's tough to look at. Opponents, let's see. They gave up less than 25 points just 3 times. They gave up 27 points or more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. They gave up 30 points or more 8 times. And they scored 30 points, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. They scored over 27 7 times. So I think the defense is really the issue there, Travis. I really do, and coaching is very high up on that list. We'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson. It's going to make for fun off-season content, but I just had to get this out there. Had to talk a lot through Watson and answer your guys' questions on him because that's the topic right now on Jets Twitter. It's been a lot of fun. But that's going to do it for me on this episode number 50. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Give me a rating review. Really helps me out a lot. Appreciate all the love and support. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.